Okay guys, I'm in a new environment, aka my dorm room. I'm starting school tomorrow. I just worked out. I'm a sweating mess, but you know what? This is happening because I have to be at an orthodontist appointment in a couple hours, so I don't have time to get pretty for y'all. With school starting, for me, everyone else started like over a month ago, but I'm on the quarter system, so y'all can deal. I wanted to discuss my most embarrassing moments in school so far, in the hopes that maybe this will counteract more things happening to either you or me, because you can learn from my mistakes and never do what I did. All these things have happened at my university, but this first one actually happened while I was attending a camp here. I was just a little baby. I was 14 years old. So we had this professor, and oh god, he was so cool. I was just like in awe of him. He was a playwright. He was in graduate school. And so I just thought he was like the coolest person ever, and he just had it together, so talented. Like something just misfires when people are cooler than me. This wonderful teacher was just trying to open a door for me, like he was just being a gentleman. I was using a like Timbuktu messenger bag at the time, but I was like a freaking idiot and I didn't understand that you like have to tighten the straps, so it was just kind of like hanging. And so he opens this door and lets me go in first, and the strap of the bag gets caught on the doorknob. I don't even know how it happened, but I was stuck there for probably minimum 45 seconds, just like tugging. And 45 seconds doesn't sound like that long, but when, you know, like a master playwright is holding a door open for you and you can't even get it together to like walk through the door, it feels like a very long time. That was good. I guess it was more embarrassing at the time, but I was mortified. My friend was laughing at me. A lot of people were laughing at me. The teacher was laughing at me. It was great. It was wonderful. So that's embarrassing moment number one. The second one is probably the most embarrassing. I was in this science class, and it was very hands-on, and so one day we had this lab where we went out to this kind of like nature area on campus. That day, I was just a hot mess. I had a small, bruise, like, hickey on my neck. The teacher is, like, demonstrating stuff with plants, like native plants, and suddenly he stops, like, hacking his machetes and turns to me in front of, there are probably, like, 50 people there, and he just says, "Is that a hickey?" And he just, like, started swearing for dramatic effect, and he just would not stop bothering me about it. It was so hot, like I couldn't wear a scarf. There were just so many bad decisions that had happened, and it was just one of the worst days of my life. Interestingly enough, I have not asked him for a letter of recommendation. Not that he's in my field, but I think that even if he could just be the gateway to everything professional and wonderful, I would just become homeless. Never again. I've seen him like one other time and I legitimately ran away. Okay, third embarrassing moment. This actually also happened in the science department. I think I just have really bad luck in the sciences. That's why I'm not involved in that. Basically, it was just days before finals, and I had been dumped over the phone, which was fun. Again, I was just kind of a mess. My freshman year, I was just generally a mess. The professor and I like had a really good relationship, because I was a little nerd, and so I come to class, and I guess I was just like listening to like Taylor Swift, and it was just like really sad. So I sat down, and I guess I looked sad, and the teacher was like, "What's wrong?" And I was like, "Nothing." He was like, "Well, what's wrong?" I was like, it's really okay. I'm like, fine. It's like a personal issue. I was like, okay. So I thought that had been dropped, and then later in the day, I go to his office because I wanted his advice on an assignment, and he's like, "Emma, like, I really noticed that you seemed upset today." I like reiterated, like, "Oh, it's just personal, not a big deal." But he wore me down. I was in a delicate place. I just ended up being like, "My boyfriend broke up with me last night." He just launched into this whole story, like he was born in Uruguay and like his fiance was part of like a revolution, but he couldn't participate because he was like bedridden, and it was just clearly more than I had ever had to deal with in my life. That kind of just made me feel worse, but also it was nice of him to try to make me feel better, I guess. Lots of people in the hall heard this whole exchange, so yeah, I just share everything, and it's the worst. So yeah, college has not been the smoothest ride for me, as evidenced by these stories, but hopefully your year is better, my year is better. I can move past my young, awkward self, which I think is probably an unattainable goal, but you know, a girl can dream. If you feel so inclined, you could share an embarrassing moment from your school experience in the comments below, because I would love to hear that I'm either the most embarrassing person or that I'm not alone. Alright, bye guys. That wave was kind of like I was like grabbing you. I'm sorry for that.